a fine day, and welcome to the James and Joe Garden Show, which is coming to you live, well, not actually live, sort of half live.
Half alive.
Half alive is basically what we are. From Joe Swift, who is over there, and me, and my name is James Alexander-Sinclair, and it's very, very lovely to see and talk to you all out there, because you can watch us, you know.
Yeah, I like it when you do the welcome to the James and Joe Garden Show.
Okay, so I thought that was a bit Leslie Crowther.
I love it.
So I'd ease off that one. Okay, we'll go back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the James and Joe Garden Show. Okay, so
got to write all our own jingles.
We've gone both ways now. Thank you very much for joining us. We are here every Tuesday. Don't forget to follow the show, which means that you'll get everyone will drop automatically into your, I suppose it's an inbox or it's a bag. I quite like the idea of having an in bag rather than an inbox. So it's going to drop into your in bag.
It's into your downloads.
Into your downloads. So it'll go straight onto your podcast supplier of choice. And they'll remind you, hey, it's Tuesday. Get up and listen to James and Joe. I tell you what, I got a message today from Frank, who we'd mentioned in a show a couple of weeks ago.
Frank, your gardener?
Yeah, because he was so excited because we were talking about bulbs and planting bulbs and the
August.
game changer.
We were talking about August.
He was thrilled. He was thrilled because he's tracking these similarities between, he's saying, oh, my career is mirroring yours and Joe's career. And he's got a mother-in-law called Brenda.
Has he?
Yeah, so it's another coincidence. He was very excited by the whole thing.
I've got to meet Frank one day because I'm starting to believe he exists now.
He's real and he's proper, and now we've mentioned him again, basically. Okay, so we are very sensible and level-headed podcast. We deal with the greater issues of horticulture and of gardening.
We do like to mix it up a little bit.
We do like to mix it up a bit, and
light and shade.
And what we do is we'll talk for a bit about a particular subject, and then we will take the questions from you people out there, and we look forward to that. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, Joseph. If you're feeling a bit rubbish and you think, oh, God, I'm just feeling a bit down, a bit.
Yeah.
And you go outside into the garden, does that make you feel better or worse?
Always better. Always better.
No matter what the weather, isn't it, really? It's everything, even if it's raining or it's snowing or whatever.
If it's raining, sometimes it makes it even better, I feel, somehow, because you feel more, what's the word? Resourceful? No.
Energized.
Yeah. It's more energized, but it's also, you can feel like you can deal with stuff a bit better, I think. If the weather's bad and you go out there and you think, I really don't fancy going out there, but and you go out and you're out there for a couple of hours, you come back soaked to the skin, exhausted, covered in mud, and then you have a lovely soaking bath or something.
Yeah.
It makes you feel better,
and the troubles of the world fall from one's shoulders.
Yeah.
I think it's a sort of something that I think everybody clicked onto this during the pandemic and COVID and lockdown and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And parks and fields and places where there was trees and things became so important to everybody. And they made this connection that I think that we as gardeners have known for a very long time, that if you feel rubbish and you go outside and you touch a tree or you do some gardening or you even just sit there and stare at the walls, it will make you feel better.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of it's used quite a lot now by businesses as sort of stress relief. People who are working too hard. You just take a little bit of time to just breathe.
Yeah, resilient was the word I was searching for earlier. It makes you feel a little bit more resilient, I guess. But I think that we're talking here about well-being, mindfulness. I've always said it's good for one's soul. Gardening feels good for one's soul. It's nourishing somehow. And that's one reason why I do it. I absolutely love it. And I always think that when you're out in the garden, you're living, I think I've probably said this before, but you're living in the past, you're living in the present, very much so in the present, but you're also living in the future at the same time, because you're living in the past because you're surrounded by plants that either you've put in or someone else has put in. And obviously you're surrounded by a landscape that's been there forever.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is so in the moment, plant and it's physical, which I think is really important. but you're also planning for the future. I'll be putting in loads of plants this autumn, which are going to be, flourishing next year. So you're thinking about all of those different elements. But at the same time, I just think that the human population, and having lived in a city for the majority of my life, is so detached from the natural world. That's what that's been the issue, I think. And now with screens and phones and all of that we're even more detached. And I think that's where some of the issues started.
I think
guess
that's absolutely right. I like your thing about a bit of the past, a bit of the present, a bit of the future.
Yeah.
I think that sums it up rather elegantly, which is unusual, I think, for you, Joseph.
Well, it's me being quite philosophical.
I think that's quite nice. But yeah, there is. So if we take it right back to the beginning, and the creation of a garden in itself is. That's going to make you feel better. You sort of sit there. Like you're doing in Joe's Country Garden, available on YouTube to anybody who wants to subscribe to that. You see, that's
lovely, nice plug, Jimmy.
A side plug is what that one is.
I'll buy you a sarnie.
No, all you have to do is you have to do it from yours back to us. When you're next in your garden talking about it, you have to say, and listen to James.
I did do that a couple ago.
Well, people are flooding in.
And a lot of people say they do listen already.
Do you think? Okay, well, hang on. I'm going to go back to where I was because now I've gone off on some tangent, which wasn't that.
Yeah, you're plugging.
So the idea of the creation of a garden, you sort of walk into a garden for the first time. And so it starts off with, what have I got? What can I make? What can I create from here? And I think it's really important to remember that whatever you create, if it makes you happy and makes you feel better, then it's just serving its purpose.
Yeah.
Nobody is judging your garden basically at any time. It's basically it's what makes. I was getting a
well
talk
because anxiety is a big issue.
Anxiety. People worry about.
And we don't want people to start worrying about what they're doing in their garden. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't help. I had a man. I was giving a talk last week. I should plug where at the Bell Plantation in Toaster, which is Northamptonshire, and a man put his hand up at the end and saying, "Is there a special rule about putting plants together?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, no, not really. You just have to make sure that they will be happy together. You read the label. If it says it likes deep shade, then don't put it next to something that likes deep sun." And I said, and as regards the colours of the plants you put there, it really doesn't matter. It's entirely up to what makes you happy. And this guy came up to me afterwards and said, "That's made me feel so much better, just to have that reassurance that you can't actually do anything wrong."
You've liberated him. You've liberated him. He's now going to go out there and do his thing and get creative, but you're always learning. You think, well, I put those two together. I didn't realise that was going to flower at the same time. And I'll move that. I don't like that combo. So actually, I'll make a note of that and move it. And then you're off.
And it's having the confidence to do that, which I think also comes back to this sort of well-being thing. If you feel comfortable in your garden, you will feel comfortable to deal with your plants and to do things and to change stuff and basically imprint your own character upon your garden. Yeah. And that in itself will also make you feel better. So it's the physical process of actually going out there and digging. You like digging. You like digging a big hole.
I'm not digging your garden. I'm not coming around.
No, you like digging a hole.
I do love digging. Yeah. All you need's an edge. So Alan, who I work with, he remembers that. He's now my boss, and we're still all you need's an edge when you dig. But I do love digging. But the thing is, digging's not so great for the soil these days. No. But I've got some nice big trees coming soon, so I'm going to have to do a lot of digging. You've got to put those in somehow.
They've got to go in properly. If you can do it by hand rather than with a digger, then it's the idea of going out on a cold day.
Yeah.
And you've been inside and it just feels a bit, it's like you were saying earlier, it's the idea of just going out and doing it, and that makes you feel better. So you go out on a cold day, and you're digging this hole, or you're doing some weeding, or you're cutting something back, or you're getting really stuck in, and your mind is just on that. There's all the troubles of the world, which are considerable at the moment, and the troubles that you may have in your own life, all of that vanishes because all it is about this. And it's the fact that, okay, I'm going to take my jacket off now, and that gets even better. And then, I think we won't go too far. But what's quite nice is digging in a T-shirt in January. Yeah. That means you got really stuck into it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You're dragging branches around.
But also you then turn around at the end of the day, and this is one reason I loved it and got hooked on gardening and landscaping, because at the end of the day, you look back and you think, well, I've transformed that area. That area, I planted it up, or, we've put some steps in over there, or whatever it is, I've pruned up all those trees or shrubs and they look great. And you can visually see the rewards of the work that you've put in and on a screen and on pieces of paper that you shuffle from one side of a desk to another. And I know a lot of people are amateur gardeners, and we're lucky that we do it professionally, but we still do a lot of shuffling of papers and looking at screens. But a lot of people don't have gardens, do they? They don't have access to their private gardens. There's allotments out there, there's community gardens, and there's there's parks, and there's a lot more of that going on, and that's really important. In fact, recently I filmed for Garden as well, an amazing allotment site in Bristol. Where they're helping a lot of the local community to grow plug plants. It's called
It's not Edible Bristol, is it?
No, it's called BS13, I think. Hasn't gone out
postcode.
Yet. Yes, it's named after the postcode, and they grow plug plants because they also found out that they did a lot of research, and they found out that a lot of the local community was struggling growing, stuff from seed, edibles from seed, sort of, your cabbages and your sprouts or your kale, whatever it was. So they grow plug plants, and people come and buy those plug plants, and then they're off. They take them back to their gardens or take them to their allotment, which is set on an allotment site. But they're also employing a lot of young people who have had some mental health issues or can't get into work, or they're struggling. And it's hugely beneficial because there's a community there, there's amazing knowledge base there. They're all working together, and it was a really wonderful setup.
It's a sort of stepping stone, isn't it? It's okay. So if you've got somebody who has either got a mental health problem, or they're long-term unemployed, or they're just not quite sure, they've got troubles at home, not quite sure what they want to do with their lives. It's that sort of moment. Where do I start? What do I do? And if you've got a community garden like that, which means that you're there, you're learning how to be with other people, you're learning how to work with other people, you're learning how to sort of to learn stuff and to take instruction and to do it, and you have the satisfaction that you're talking about getting to the end of the day and think, God, I did that.
Yeah.
I did that, and I can feel it. I can feel it in my body. I can feel that it's been, it's been quite exhausting. I'm going to sleep well tonight. I'm going to have a good dinner.
I've been outdoors all day.
I've been outdoors all day.
I'm connected to the seasons. I'm connected to the weather. I'm connected to the natural world. I've seen bees, butterflies, worms.
I can do anything. It's that so much. It's a feeling of empowerment that you can get from being out there and doing it. I mean, I remember when I first sort of started gardening, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I was sort of drifting.
No, well, you were loafing around smoking cigarettes, lying on a sofa, and you realised that wasn't an actual career.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you did your sister's garden.
Yeah,
and you got
heard the story.
I know we've all heard the story, but you got into it. You just got off your arse and did it, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it was not the most happiest time of my life. Is that time before that? It was quite sort of rough, and I wasn't really. It's sort of this aimlessness, and then you anchor onto something. So I anchored onto digging a garden, and then it carries on from that. And here I am, sitting with you talking nonsense. so be careful, children, what you wish for.
But it's also, I mean, I come from my family's very academic. Okay? Yeah. My parents went to Cambridge. My brother and sister both went to Oxford, and I'm an art school dropout, basically. And I think that sort of gardening has been seen as this, he's gone into gardening, or, he's a gardener, a bit of landscaping. Yeah. Oh dear, well, we'll see where, and now I think that's changed. I think the attitudes towards gardening, garden design, landscaping, working on a nursery, the science of it, the whole world of gardening. And you get a lot of people having a bit of a midlife crisis going, I wish I could go be a gardener. And it's like, you can be a gardener.
Again, at this talk I was giving last week, there was this woman came up and said, oh, this is my daughter. She's doing an RHS level 2 course, and she wants to be a gardener. I said, what do you want to do? There are so many things that you can do if you're a gardener. And she wants to be a hands-on gardener. And her mother said, and I think I might do it too. And so there's 2 generations coming into gardening and realizing this is a place where you can get a certain amount of freedom and a lot of satisfaction. And I think the thing that people are valuing more, garden designers, always been sort of, slightly top of the tree sort of thing. We have good businesses, we get paid quite well. The problem is the lower you go down in horticulture, we get down to the people who are actually looking after the stuff that we design. we haven't been paying them enough. We haven't been looking after them enough.
Valuing them nearly enough.
And now I really hope that we're, I mean, I've just written an article about it for Country Life. Am I allowed to talk about Country Life?
Of course you are.
Or maybe they'll put us on their podcast too. Hello, Country Life.
Hello, Country Life.
Yeah, which, about how, no matter how good anything that you write is, no matter how well designed it is only as good as the person who looks after it.
Yeah.
Because we sort of design it, we build it, Alon and his guys come in, and there's all this sort of stuff, clear it all up, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
But the very next day, that garden has changed, and we need people who are really, really good at just being there and being in the garden. I was in the Horatio's garden in Sheffield yesterday, which is the newest one. Head gardener there, Ruth, she's amazing. You can see that she's got her finger on everything. She knows every single plant beautifully, much more so the designers. Charlotte and Hugo, who designed it, have done a really, really good job, but they're not there every day.
No.
And so we need to value and look after people. We need to encourage people and realize that you can do this. You can change from being, what profession shall I be rude about? Insurance clerk. No.
Yeah,
working in Tesco's or whatever. You could be a gardener. You can actually realize your heart's desire and come out there and live in the past, in the future, and in the moment.
And I think attitudes towards gardeners is changing. I mean, I think back in the day, it would have been a good profession, but probably very in the UK especially, very class driven, wouldn't it? I mean, when we had very distinctive classes, and then it was seen as. I mean, when my brother was studying, doing at Oxford studying sociology, PPE. He said, your class, when I was a gardener, he said, well, you're classed in group 7 or whatever it was as a farm labourer. Which is nothing wrong with a farm labourer at all, but I had various skills and knowledge, and I'd even done a course in garden design by then. But you're still put into a bracket, I guess. And I think that's been blown open. And I think that's a really good thing. And I think attitudes are changing. We're still not paying gardeners enough, but people are really valuing gardeners, but they're also valuing gardening, school gardening, the NHS now. Do they, I mean, I haven't had a GP recommend gardening to me, but when I tell them I'm a gardener anyway.
I think it's what's called social prescribing, isn't it? And they do quite a lot of it at the RHS garden in Bridgewater, which is in Salford. And people get sent to the garden by their GP. So rather than being put on, antidepressants, so go and try this. Go and do 2 weeks gardening. And they come in, and there are people who work for the RHS who take them under their wing and say, right, okay, we can do some of this, we can do some of that. And you start off gently. You start off with something that's straightforward and easy, sowing seeds or something like that. And eventually some people need, as we were talking about, they need to dig holes. They need more physical. Yeah. And there's, there's woodlands and all sorts of things that you can build, and they're building stuff for children to come and play on, and ponds and clearing trees. Yeah. And it sets them up for going back into into the mainstream and going up and actually doing what they actually want to do. So I think that what we're saying is that gardening generally is one of the best things. But put it simply.
But going right back to the beginning when you asked me, okay, so it's getting quite personal now, but I've had 2 experiences. One, I was in France, gardening in France, and I found out that my best friend had died, basically. And I was by myself, and I was gardening at the time. And I just gardened for 2 weeks, solid, by myself, just thinking. He was also a landscaper and a gardener. We had a business together at one point, and he was, we were very, very close. And and I just gardened and cried for 2 weeks solidly, and it was the best thing I could have done. And people kept ringing them up. I'm coming down. I'm coming. You're by yourself. I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm just planting and pruning and digging, and I'm getting this stuff sorted and crying. And it was just, I felt it was, looking back on it, it was 3 or 4 years ago. It was I was in the right place to be doing that. It just helped me so much.
And I don't think your experience is unique. I mean, I gardened through my father's death. Yeah, that was happening, and I remember being out there and thinking, what am I going to do? I can't sit here and feel sorry or feel sad. I need to get out and do something. So you go out and you channel all that through weeding and pruning and just being out there. Because the other thing that I think that people do is once you've created all of this, you need to make time to just go and sit in it and be in it rather than actually. So it's not all about activity. It's not all about, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Oh, here's my task list, all that kind of stuff. You have to make moments to just sit there and just feel that moment and feel the fact that, okay, this is what I've done. And the reason I've done this is so that people can come here and feel better and feel cuddled by the garden and feel comforted by the garden, which is what was happening with you.
Yeah, well, it works on so many levels. I think that's what keeps us both, involved in the whole thing, and is fabulous for your well-being and your mental health, good for one's soul, as I say, but it just works on so many levels, gardening. It works on the physical level, the creative level, there's the nerdy side of plants, there's the community side, there's it really crosses all boundaries, all ages. We talk about diversity in this country and we embrace diversity. I've met so many people who are from all different backgrounds, and it just crosses everything in such a joyous way.
Gardening brings us all together.
It does.
In the past, the present, and the future. And our future, do you know where our future lies?
Oh, no.
Our future lies in answering some questions from our lovely
I think
readers.
that's the most serious one we've ever done, Jimmy.
I think it's quite, but it's nice. And what we'd like is we'd like the listeners to, write us a note. Tell us whether that's.
But they know, you see, or anyone who gardens knows. It's encouraging people who are struggling to try a bit of gardening, or welcome them in and garden with them. And I think that's the thing. Spread the love, really.
There are loads of community gardens all over the place. And if you live in a particular area, you can find out, or send us a note, and if we can find something for you, we will find something for you. Mm-hmm. And now we come to the part of the podcast where we answer questions from readers. Now, when I say listeners is where we come from.
Well, some people might read it. Are we transcripted?
I think we might be transcripted, but it's always quite weird, a transcript thing. But if you did want to read something, and actually if that coincided with the fact that you had no advertisements during these podcasts, and you got a bit of extra stuff, then you'd want to do that, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. And there's a very easy way to do that. We have something called Scribehound Gardening. If you sign up for Scribehound Gardening, you not only get ad-free listening, you not only get a chance to read things, not just from us, but from, 28 other writers of distinction and knowledge, like Matt Pottage, Alan Titchmarsh, Annie Guilfoyle, Adley Richmond, Hugh Richards. You want to know about vegetables and whales? Leah Leendertz, who is the writer of The Almanac, a best-selling book.
We call her Leah Linedance.
We do call her.
Does she know that?
Well, she does now, if she listens to us.
Anne-Marie Powell.
Anne-Marie Powell is there. So all of these writers will give you little snippets, and they'll write stuff and they'll read it out for you.
Annie Guilfoyle.
And as I mentioned her, we can't mention her
because
twice.
she always complains we don't mention her enough. Annie, we're mentioning you
Annie
again.
Annie Guilfoyle.
Annie, can you hear us?
Noel Kingsbury. They're all Tom Stewart Smith, all of these names that you've heard. So if you go and sign up for Scribehound Gardening, then you will get ad-free listening on here. You will get extra content. You will get little snippets from all of these people. And the first month is a quid.
Yeah, brilliant.
Which is absolutely nothing at all.
What can you get for a quid these days?
Okay, what can you buy for a quid? You can't.
You get a penny chews about a quid.
I think it probably is.
A penny chews a quid these days. I bought you a cup of coffee this morning. You can no way.
That was not
in fact,
a quid.
The deposit on the cup that we got to take back, that was a quid. And I want that quid back.
Okay, yeah. We
so I can try and get my month's trial to Scribehound.
So £1, which is nothing. So a month's trial at Scribehound. So I've now got 4 questions that have been sent in by our listeners. And we have rules about questions. Our rules about questions are questions cannot be
dead or dull. The
no
2
dead
Ds.
Plants.
The 2D. Every gardener knows the 3 Ds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just got the 2 Ds. We're keeping it simple. But some people still send them in, don't they? We just vet them early now, don't we?
They get Louis basically goes through them.
They get shredded.
Is this dead? Is this dull? He doesn't know. Actually, he's got absolutely no idea at all. So it could be that he's chucking all the best questions in the bin. Okay. Do you want to do the first question? Or shall I do the first question?
You do the first question.
I can do the first question from the top of the thing. This is a question from Jonathan. Love listening to the podcast. We like that. We like the beginning of that. It makes us think.
I mean, there's half a gnome right there.
Because, did you mention the gnomes? The reason, if we answer your question and we like your question, we will send you a green garden gnome.
and
Which
you
is-
become a Scribehound. No,
Look,
you become
they're over there,
You
just
become.
over there.
It's more. We're now James and Joe Garden. You become a James and Joe Garden Show legend.
God, that's quite a
That's
responsibility
something, isn't it?
to bear. Okay, so Jonathan is making a punt for a gnome. Jonathan, love listening to the podcast, and the first podcast I put on a Tuesday. So it's the first thing he does on a Tuesday is listen to our
Does he
podcast.
not put a pair of pants on?
No, he doesn't. He does it naked.
Oh no!
I think we're going to give him a gnome just for being our naked listener. If anybody else likes to listen to us naked, will you tell us? Don't send us any pictures. We don't need that, but you can tell us.
Definitely no
Yeah.
pictures.
I enjoy a round of golf. I thought I'd try and link the two, golf and gardening and us. All right. There is a golf competition, which you may or may not know about, called the 3 Club Challenge.
Yes,
You know about that?
I do.
What is it?
You can only have 3 clubs. So you can have some people have 2 clubs and a putter, like a driver, a mid iron and a putter, or a wedge and a putter and a 3-wood. Yeah, so you can only have 3 clubs.
Do you still have a mashy niblick?
I think it's called something else now. They're called like a fairway wood or a rescue club. It's called a rescue club, I think, a mashy niblick.
It's got a mashy niblick. Peachy Woodhouse keeps talking about mashy niblicks. You both, okay, this is the competition he's setting us on the. You both have a day in your gardens, and you're only allowed 3 tools. What are you choosing?
Yeah,
You get a bucket each for free. So he's giving us each a bucket.
yeah.
So we have a bucket. You're allowed 3 more tools. What are you going to have?
What do you mean a bucket? What's a bucket
Well,
for?
the bucket is there so that you've got something to put your weeds in or your tools in or something. You know, it's a bucket.
Okay.
You do what you put it in your head. I don't care.
I might not need a bucket.
Well, you're getting a free bucket. All right.
All
just
right.
just live with your bucket.
All
What
right.
else? What other 3 tools are you having?
Okay.
We did a thing about favourite tools a few weeks ago, didn't we? So we'll try and make it different to that.
I think we did favourite. I think okay. I'm going to rattle through them because I'm not. There's no point
You're
in
only
messing
allowed
about.
3.
I know, but otherwise this is going to be. I'm going to go a hedge shear trimmers. Hey, I do a lot of gardening with battery powered trimmer. Hedge trimmers, not strimmer. Okay.
Have you got one with an extension? So because you got quite high hedges, haven't you?
Yeah, but I like to cut perennials and grasses back, and I go around the little hedges and stuff. I do a lot, even bits of grass that are overhanging areas or whatever. I mean, lawn. So
hedge
that's
trimmer.
essential. I do more and more with that, and I think it might be a rural thing.
Yeah, because it's bigger.
Because it's bigger, and I leave a lot of the perennials just down, and then it gets okay. So that's number one.
Yeah.
You need a digging implement, of course. Now, is it a fork or a spade? I think it's probably a spade because you can chop with a. Okay. So I've got a spade. I've got my hedge trimmers, and then what else do I need? That's about it, really.
Okay, I'm going to add to that.
I'll have a wheelbarrow because then I don't need a bucket. I love a wheelbarrow.
I'm going to have your bucket.
You can have 2 buckets.
I quite like a bucket.
Buckets.
I like a bucket for compost and a bucket for weeds.
Okay.
So they're sort of separating them. So I've got your bucket. I think I'm also going a spade. I'll have a spade as well. I quite like my gold Niwaki spade.
Yeah.
With the sort of
That's
pointy
product
bit.
placement.
I know. I thought, well, why not? We'll chuck it in. I've got 2. I've got the big one and the small one. So I quite like them. I also have. I mean, secateurs, obviously, but they're just a given, aren't they? Really? You have secateurs
there's
anyway.
no given.
So
You need a cutting tool.
Well,
That's why I've gone for my. You can't have secateurs, and you got to make that decision.
okay,
it's not a given. Nothing's
then,
given.
okay,
The
then I'm
bucket's
having-
the given.
I'm having secateurs.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm having my spade. I'm having secateurs. I'm going to have something else that's
You
slightly
said
different.
secateurs that time. You
Well, it's
see?
because I'm trying to speak.
No, because
I'm talking in your language.
Yeah, but I'm starting to say secateurs.
Secateurs.
So I'm turning into you, and you're
We're
turning.
just
that's slightly
transferring.
more-
Do you know my hair's going to fall out?
Bucket, secateurs, your Niwaki little like the nice little gold spade. I like those. Okay, you got one more then.
I'm going to have a ball of string.
A ball of
A ball of string. A ball
Why are you
of
a
string.
cat?
No, it's not that. A ball of string, because it's always something that needs to be tied up
Yeah,
or
fair
something that
enough.
needs to be done.
Fair enough.
So that's. I'm going to have my ball of string, but a string I feel very strongly about. And you know that we've spoken about this before, and I wrote a long article about it last year. For
Your
Scribehound.
twine, your garden twine, isn't it?
Yeah, well, string. I had. Oh God, I could tell you, talk to you. Maybe we should do a whole podcast about string. One
Yeah,
day.
that'll be a string theory.
Be the one. We could string them out.
Yeah, okay,
string
they're
it out
good.
for hours.
They're good. So there's nothing really left field there. We
No,
haven't come
I
up
think
with
that's good.
the
But I
magic
think
tool.
Jonathan gets his gnome.
If I had another one, I might have to have an auger for my drill. But then you
don't
need a
have
drill.
another one. You don't have another. He's only allowed 3 tools. Otherwise, you play the golf competition. You turn up with, I don't know, with your
Yeah, full
driver, your
set.
mashy niblick, your
Yeah, full
putter,
set. Your full
and your
13. Full
3 wood.
13 is, I think, the
13
legal.
of them.
13 clubs.
Do you have a sandwich, or do you have one of those any longer?
I've just had a sandwich. It was egg and egg and.
Hey!
I have a sandwich. Yes,
sandwich.
I do have a sandwich.
All my golfing knowledge is based on PG Woodhouse. Here, have a question.
Sandwiches and mashy niblicks.
Well, God,
no,
chaos.
Couldn't even
All right, we just dropped everything. Right, there you go.
Okay, this is from David.
David.
They're not saying where they are anymore.
They've given up on that one. We can invent it. We can pretend.
I think he's French. He's David.
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 David Ginola.
Now that you have worked out that gardening is indeed sexy.
Wait.
This is the question.
Yeah, sur le pont d'Avignon.
He's no like, morning, gents. Hi, how you doing? Loving the show.
No, he's going straight for it.
He's going in, but he's taking a bit of a punt on this. Now that you've worked out that gardening is indeed sexy, what is a phrase that you? Oh no, what is a phrase that you could hear both in the garden and in the bedroom?
Oh, that's from Thingy. What's that radio program?
Yeah, that was on
where they do that.
Yes.
Okay, so
just a minute. No, it's not just a minute. But it's those
it's
guys.
The other one. It's
yeah.
Have I not? Oh God, I can't remember. What is it called? It's really good. It's got Jack D in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you people out there, because if you're listening to us, you're probably listening to Radio 4, so you probably will know what it is. Okay, so a phrase that works equally well in the garden or in the bedroom. Okay, so green side up, brown side down. That works both ways. What do you got?
It's amazing how things grow if you handle them right.
There you go, David.
David, we can't keep going.
Your French ways.
We're going to end up. I mean, there's a lot of dirty jokes in the garden. Obviously,
there is. There's a certain amount of filth, but we don't go there, except when we're dragged there by people like David. David, you get an what's a gnome in French?
Oh,
le gnome.
No, is it a silent G? And I wouldn't know.
I have no idea. Do you think
they haven't
gnomes?
got gnomes in France. Why would you? Why would you want a gnome in France?
Well, because I don't know. Well, why would you want a gnome anywhere?
Well, exactly.
But I wonder if they have them in France.
No, but you can't. Okay, they won't have a name for it. The name will be gnome. It's like us calling a croissant a croissant. You know what I mean? We don't say, "Oh, there's a croissant. Let's call it a French
horn." Okay, and also the fact that I've seen no evidence at all that David is even faintly French.
Well, of course he's French.
Okay, I've got here.
He's French now.
All right,
he's a sexy French man. Oh, now this is interesting because when I go to France, as I do quite regularly, I always thought that my terrible French accent, like bonjour, comment ça va, je m'appelle Joe, je voudrais un baguette, s'il vous plaît. I don't say French stick. People who call a baguette a French stick, I don't. That's another thing. They're a baguette. It's a croissant.
Well, hang on. Is it a baguette or is it a baguette?
A baguette. Okay. Well, the pronunciation doesn't. Anyway, I used to go into the local boulangerie. There was a friend of mine down there. He calls it a boulanger. Right, and I always and there were these two ladies chatting, two old ladies chatting, and I said, "Oh, excusez-moi," and they just sort of started giggling to themselves, and I said, "Oh, excusez-moi, my accent is terrible," and they went, "No, we love the English accent. It's very sexy."
What?
Yeah, and I thought that it sounded awful, but apparently, to the French, an English accent speaking French is a bit like a French accent speaking English. So when they say, "Oh, this is a bit sexy, I'm coming to London town for the weekend," or whatever it might be, that sounds the equivalent. Now, I don't know if they're winding me up. Yeah, so I started really putting it on after that. Oh, bonjour.
Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour, madame. And I've got a friend who works down there who's lived in France for many years, speaks fluent French. And when he speaks French, he does use his English accent quite a lot. And I'm thinking, why? Because he knows it's a little bit sexy too.
Well, that's the same as French people speak.
Interesting,
anyway,
isn't it?
I didn't. Okay, we got
I thought
questions.
It sounded very harsh and
crack
horrible.
on. Do you want left or right?
It's your turn.
My turn. It's my turn.
It's your turn. I've done David.
Right? Oh, here I've got somebody who's actually telling us where they come from.
Good.
This is Diane.
Yeah.
In Indiana.
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 Gary, Indiana. What's that song? Gary, Indiana.
Gary, is Gary the capital of Indiana? No.
No, but there's a song, Gary, Indiana.
There is. I can't think who it's from, but Louis is going to Google it now and find out what it is and where it comes from. Okay. I assume that you have been blessed.
Is this your Indiana accent?
No. Oh, did you actually do it in an Indiana accent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you've been practicing.
We're never going to be allowed into the United States if we keep doing this. I assume you've been blessed to be in a lot of different gardens, large and small. What is the best garden vibe? What is the vibe and how did they accomplish it? So if you go into this garden in Indiana and you feel a certain vibe, you get this sort of, hey, I'm getting this feeling from this garden. It's not about the style of the garden. It's not about the way it's planted. It's not about the way it's been designed. It's just a general feel. You go in there and you think, hey, I like this garden.
This vibe.
I want to be here.
Yeah, this sort of you're letting the mood wash over you.
So can you think of a garden you've been in that's got a particular sort of vibe? I can think of gardens that I've been in which are quite sinister. You know, which are slightly overgrown and maybe a little.
Yeah.
You know, you get overgrown. You get the romantic secret gardening overgrown.
Oh,
and then you get the slightly neglected, bit scary overgrown bits.
Yeah.
So I think we have both. I've had some where you go in and you get swept away by the feeling of history and spectacle and all of that. I tell you one that's quite interesting, which is the modern version of that, which is Arundel Castle.
Yeah.
And that's got a very definite vibe to it. It was designed by Julian and Isabel Bannerman, and it's got a lot of sort of oak temple and all these kind of things. It's got these rather wonderful wood features, really good planting that's been done by the garden team there. And the vibe you get from that is that this is grand, but actually also quite amusing and quite fun. And you go in there and there's a fountain. And I can put a photograph of it on our social medias. There's a fountain where there is a gold crown that's supported by a jet of water. And that's quite fun. So that had quite a sort of fun vibe, and I can think of spooky vibe places.
But the overgrown Penelope Hobhouse, what was it called before it was called the Newt?
It was called Hadspun.
Hadspun.
It's Hadspun or Habston. I can't remember.
No, Hadspun.
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 Has an Astrantia named after it.
Hadspun House. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Penelope Hobhouse, and it was about a year after Hadspun had been left untouched.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it was amazing. And there was an area there with a pond, and it was a garden still. It hadn't sort of reverted back to, I don't know, a rewilded space or whatever, and it wasn't completely full of weeds, but it was overgrown and unkempt. And it was a sort of, it had been raining, it was a bit drizzly, and it was so atmospheric. And she said, this is, because it hadn't been touched for, I think, about a year, and it was going to be it was moving on.
Was that before Sandra and Norrie Pope there and did a colour?
No, this was
after they'd gone as well.
It was after they'd gone, and that was what the piece was about. Actually, it was a competition to redesign. Oh, I remember, yes. To redesign the bit.
Alice entered it.
Alice who?
Alice Fowler.
Alice Fowler entered it.
I think she did. Yeah.
It was to redesign that, and that's what the piece was about. So I was interviewing her, and we were setting up this competition to redesign this area. And it was just so atmospheric, and I'll never forget that. I think
that's that very romantic atmospheric idea of a slightly fading garden.
Yeah,
but I don't know whether they have. I don't know whether
but I think the point is that if it's too new or it's too manicured or it's too contemporary somehow, you do. It's like, do you lose that? You just get a different. You just get a different sense, a different mood you're creating.
Some moods are deliberate, like okay, this is going to be a party garden, or this is going to be a calm garden, or it's going to be a white garden, it's going to be a formal garden. But I think that what we're saying is that the most interesting vibes are from gardens that have just been left a little bit to their own devices, but not too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Diane from Indiana.
Yeah.
How's your Indiana accent?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Go on then.
Yeah. Hi.
Just quit while you're ahead. Okay, Diane from Indiana, thank you very much for your fine question. And we would be honored and privileged to send to you one green garden gnome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So here we have Michael from Somerset.
Somerset,
a lovely part of the world.
That's sort of down your way, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the accents are very similar in my book, but they're not at all.
No, probably if you came from Somerset and you were listening to us doing these accents, you'd be mortified.
It would be a bit
Go
more.
on then.
Michael from Somerset. Dear James and Joe, in brackets, Jamo.
Jamo.
That would be like fusing a hybrid.
It's like J-Lo.
Yeah. Jamo.
Jamo. Yep.
Who do you dislike most in the gardening world? Oh, yeah, right.
Come on.
Yeah,
As if we're going to do that one.
Interpret that as you wish, whether a type of gardener or a specific colleague or person. Somerset. Yes, I currently have my own cider brewing. P.S. Joe, is there a chance of a discounted rate for a talk at our gardening club? I've spoken to your agent, or is James cheaper?
Excellent. Yeah,
you can have both of us. You're somewhere between the two of us, Somerset. We could both get there, but we'll sort something out.
We could come and do a live podcast at their gardening club.
We could. Yeah,
that would be quite fun.
We don't want to promise too much.
No. I mean, we might. We have to talk to Louis. He's very, very fierce.
Under the name of Jamo.
Okay,
so interpret that.
If you think, what's his name again?
His name's Michael.
Michael, if you think that we're going to tell you who we dislike most,
no, well, we don't have to go into a specific colleague or person, because I'll be honest with you, the list is so great that it's huge. The lovely thing I think about gardening and the gardening world is that we all generally get on. We all get on really well on the whole. There's a few out there. No names that are going to be mentioned that wind me up. No. Or just say silly things sometimes. But then I wind other people up. I know that.
You do, that's very true.
For a fact.
I don't.
No, everyone loves you, Jimmy. Everyone loves you. Jimmy the diplomat.
Everybody is. Most people in gardening are delightful and charming, except for the bastards who aren't.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. But is there a type? Is there a type of gardener? I think there is a type of gardener who's slightly annoying, and I think it's like a know-all, isn't it? It's someone who you either do it this way or don't do it at all, or it's oh no, I don't like that. Very closed-minded.
I think that's true, because I think as we were talking earlier in this podcast, the whole idea is if your garden makes you happy, then it's doing its job right.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it in the way that other people, if someone comes along and is snobby and know-all-y about it, I don't really like that. I don't like people to judge things unnecessarily. Someone said, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." Of course you can. If you want to do that, you jolly well go ahead and do it.
And you are a judge. I mean, you have to judge a lot of gardens at a lot of shows, so you have to. I mean, I sometimes do walk into shows and go, "Oh, that is terrible. That garden really is not good." But really, I should be thinking. It's great. They've had a go. You'll learn from it. They'll go from their bronze to a silver next time,
and they will grow. But the other thing about it is what's important is that when we're judging gardens, our job basically is to give the best award we can. So you're not looking for the negatives. You're looking for the positives. You're looking for so that's good. That's good. That's not quite so good. That's not quite so good. That's not quite so good. So you're not going to do brilliantly. But a gardener at a show that we're judging. They volunteered themselves to be judged.
Yeah,
they know that we're going to look at it critically. But people who judge people's gardens on the street say, "Oh, they shouldn't be doing that. Oh, it's dreadful to be planting those two plants together." Yeah. I don't really approve of that. I think you should try and encourage everybody.
But I think there are gardeners like that. They're snobby. They're snobby gardeners and very critical.
So we don't like snobby.
We don't like them.
Okay, so we're going to give.
Well, I think we've got 4 gnomes going out today.
I think we've got 4 gnomes going out, except we're not sending any gnomes to any snobby gardeners, but we are sending them to all 4. We're sending one to Indiana, we're sending one to Somerset, we're sending one to wherever the other people come from, but they're not prepared to
sell us. We'll find out where they come from.
In the meantime, if we've sent you a gnome, then we would like to ask you a favour in return. Could you go to Spotify and give us 5 stars, or could you go to Apple and write a nice review about?
Yeah, we're going to change the rules. They've got to. They have to give us 5 stars on Spotify, then we send the gnome out.
Oh,
because once you've sent that gnome out, they're like, "Oh, I've got the gnome, put it on the shelf. Oh, forget it. I'm not going to bother with a review." But we also want more questions, don't we? I mean, we get lots of questions, but we like someone who's really thought a question through.
We like a carefully considered question that has nothing to do with dead things, and it's not dull. That's all we require. But what we also would like to do is to see you again next week. When we drop. If you've pressed follow, then it will come automatically. If not, you'll have to work a little bit harder. If you want a little bit more of this and a little bit less in the way of advertisements, then go and subscribe to Scribehound Gardening, where you will find all manner of delights. But in the
Do
meantime,
you think this podcast is good for one's mental health and well-being?
I think so. I think
Could we get away with selling it on that basis?
I think so, definitely, because I think that one of the things that people do, I do definitely, is that I listen to podcasts when I'm weeding. I listen to stuff. Some people just like to listen, and some days I feel like some days I don't want to listen to anything. I just want to hear the surroundings. Some days I quite like to just have one headphone in so I can hear the rest of the world, but I just have a podcast going on. This podcast, if you're gardening and you listen to this podcast, then your gardening will be even more pleasurable.
And by default, it makes you a sexier gardener as well, which got to be a good thing.
Yeah, dead right. Even sexier than the French bloke who doesn't come from France.